Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. Today we're taking a look at the Cold Steel Code 4. This is a classic cold steel knife and one that is long overdue for a video on the channel. I've had this knife for almost 2 years. It's been a long time. And yeah, at first I wasn't going to review it because I thought, you know, it's kind of a classic model. It's been around forever. There's probably enough videos about it. But I need content, so I'm reviewing a lot of the knives I have in my collection. I was going to give it a My 2 Cents video, but I decided that we might as well just go ahead and give it the full shebang. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and start off with our blade length measurement. So if we go back here and just measure the sharpened edge, you can see that we are coming in just a little bit, we'll call it 3.5 inches. If we go all the way back to the handle, we're getting close to 4. So it depends on how the cop decides to measure the blade. Either way, it is definitely a full size to larger size knife. Let's go ahead and demonstrate that with our size comparisons. Here is the Ontario Rat 1 and the 2. So yeah, definitely a large knife, but it's a cold steel. What are you expecting, right? What are you expecting? Let's go ahead and grab our Benchmade Bug Out and our Spyderco PM2. There you go. And let's grab our Civivis. There's the Praxis. There's the Elementum. And to close out size comparisons, let's go ahead and grab a couple of other cold steels. We've got the American Lawman right here, and where'd I put it? I think it's in my backpack. Just a second while I dig this out. Yeah, there it is. And there's the Recon 1. All right. One thing I want to point out with this guy, though, on the size comparison front is this dimension. It's a pretty thin knife, especially for a cold steel, and I think that serves it pretty well. Materials, we're looking at a clip point S35 VN blade with a hollow grind. We have aluminum scales, steel clip, we have the triad lock, of course. And yeah, the blade, you can get, I think there's 4 different blade shapes. The clip point, the spear point, and then you have the tanto and the serrated tanto. So whichever one of those is your flavor, they've got one for you. All right, let's go ahead and get to the cutting footage. Alrighty guys, it's a magical, magical day because I get to talk about a cold steel. We're talking about the Cold Steel Code 4 today, as you already know because you've been through the rest of the video. So, big old fly. Don't land on my camera. There we go. Cold Steel Code 4. It's a classic. It really needs no introduction. Let's get right into it. How's the action? Very nice. This is a super, super flickable cold steel. There's a nice little pop to it. You can reverse flick it pretty easily. I say as I fail. Wow, I have not been reverse flicking things very good today. Yeah. Very, very nice action on this guy. Really, really good there. How are the ergos? They're nice. It's a very slim knife, which makes it one of the least ergonomic cold steels, just because it is so slim, and it actually also makes it one of the least glove-friendly cold steels, which is unusual because, you know, cold steel is, I mean, they're working knives, but this knife here, the smooth aluminum, the thinness, makes it a little bit harder to index than other cold steels. However, you can do it, and in bare hands, yeah, it's still comfortable. Yeah, the ergonomic lines are good, but it is thin and it's metal, so keep that in mind. Yeah, how does it carry? We're going to be trucking right along here today, guys. So, that does have a reversible clip, which is awesome. The aluminum means that it does slide in and out a little bit nicer than some cold steels. But the clip is pretty tight. I might bend this one out, too. Yeah. But yeah, it's slim, so it carries all right. And yeah, you can definitely get it in and out. But yeah, the clip is a little bit tight. I actually recently switched my clips on this guy. The clip I used to have on here, I tried bending it out, and I actually went a little bit too far. And so I put this new one on here, actually like a month or two ago. And yeah, it's got that same issue. It's just super tight. So we might do something about that if I can. We shall see. All right, let's go ahead and do some cutting, shall we? Clip point blade, S35N, hollow grind. Woo! Ooh! Whoops. Yeah. It cuts really, really nicely as far as the cardboard goes. Let's go ahead and grab our this stuff. Excellent. Let's see how it does here. I'm guessing it'll do pretty good. Oof. Oh. 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 Yeah. Yeah. That's why we love cold steel. And I bet it'll also do good on the pool noodle. There's only one way to find out, though, right? We just gotta do it. Oh. Guys, I love cold steel so much. Very, very nice. Great, great blade there. That's what you like to see. Look at that sexy boy. All right, let's get back to the table, shall we? Whoa. Let's do that again. Get him a little bit straighter. All righty. We're back. The Cold Steel Code 4. What am I liking? What am I not liking? Number one, it's a good looking knife. It's a very classic looking knife, but I really, really enjoy the aesthetics of this knife. It's very good looking. It looks very premium, but it also looks utilitarian. It looks very tactical, but also very, I'm going to use the word classic again. It's got a nice look to it. I love the finish they have on this aluminum. It's kind of not quite a green, not quite a bronze. I'm not sure what to call it, but it looks really, really good in my opinion. Next thing, the blade on this thing is excellent. S35N, one of my favorite steels. I love the clip point shape. You've got a good tip for drilling and piercing. You've got some straight, you've got some belly. You've got pretty robust blade shape. I mean, look at that tip. Yeah, you're not going to break that tip off, but the blade still performs really, really well, which is a thing with cold steels. If you've seen any of my cold steel videos, you know that by and large, that's how they roll. They are very well designed so that you have strong, robust blades that can still slice and cut very, very effectively. And I love that. Absolutely love that. Next thing, this knife is built like a tank. Even though this is a lightweight cold steel, we'll actually go with that first. This knife is very easy to carry. It's very slim. The smooth aluminum makes it go in and out of the pocket, you know, nice on some of the coarse scaled G10 cold steels. It's a big full-size knife, but it carries easier than, you know, some other knives. I mean, for example, let's compare it where I put the Praxis. I just had it. There it is. I mean, you can see it's even thinner than the Praxis, and it's about the same size in terms of length. But you're getting a lot of knife in a lightweight package. And this is something that Cold Steel does a lot. You know, they have their models that are just the G10 with no liners, just have the triad lock there. But this knife kind of helps it feel a little more premium than the G10. You get a very premium feeling knife, but it's a very capable knife. It's a very strong knife. Strong knife. You have the triad lock, which we all know is just absolutely bomb-proof. The knife itself feels very solid in your hand. The aluminum's got a really nice, it gives it a really nice premium feel. I keep using that sentence, a premium feel. The Code 4 does feel a lot more premium than even knives like the American Lawman. I love the American Lawman a lot. And it's a very capable, very, very useful knife. But the G10 doesn't feel quite as premium as the aluminum over here. Fully ambidextrous, we have the triad lock, which you can access easily, left or right-handed. It does come with an extra clip in the package that you can swap over. And the thumb stud can be reversed. We'll talk a little bit more about the thumb stud, but yeah, really nice. One thing I forgot to mention about the blade is that the edge termination is excellent. In fact, it's pretty much perfect. So good job there. Sharpness out of the box was amazing. S35VN, Cold Steel does a great job with their S35VN. I really, really love it. The ergonomics on this knife are very good. You do have choils here, or grooves here, but they do fit my hand pretty well. You've got a little bit of jumping back here that you can feel barehanded. You can't really feel it with gloves. But yeah, just really good grips. You can choke back, kind of a pistol grip if you really, really need to. But yeah, it feels good in the hand. And to kind of wrap up everything I like concisely, this is a Cold Steel knife that seamlessly transitions from heavy-duty use to just regular EDC. Not a whole lot of Cold Steel knives do that. But this knife is equally at home in my pocket on the ranch, in the woods, going shopping, just going about my day-to-day life, whatever I'm doing. This knife just works. It works really, really well. And I think that's really awesome. Again, not all Cold Steels do that. This Cold Steel, great when I'm in the woods, but if I'm, in town for the day, I don't really want to carry this, right? It's just a lot of knife. This provides a lot of knife, a lot of capability in a very manageable package, and a pretty stylish package too, if I do say so myself. Which I do. I'm not sure why I said it like that. It's not like I made this knife. Anyways, one more thing I want to talk about with the good, actually. Almost forgot this. Thank you, notes. The action is very, very nice. This might actually be one of the nicest backlock actions ever. I mean, I don't know how they did it, and you can even tell mine's a little bit gritty. My Cold Steels tend to get kind of gritty. I don't know how they did it, but I mean, it feels like it's got a detent. It just snaps out of there. On the close, it's very good. And you get knives like the American Lawman that you can also thumb flick out, but it doesn't feel as good. And it's also a lot easier to just kind of, not get it right with the, this knife. You gotta really make sure you're going kind of that way, and you might need to use a little bit of wrist. Whoops. But you can get it, right? This knife, oh my gosh. I mean, it doesn't even feel like it's a backlock. It just flicks open so easily. And I think that's really, really cool. So there we go. Fit and finish is really nice on these two. They're just made very, very well. Okay, going on to some of my negatives. Number one, I really don't like this thumb stud that Cold Steel does. Why not just make it the same size on both sides like they do with the, like this, right? No one wants to have to swap the thumb clip. Oh my gosh. Deep breaths, Gideon, deep breaths. No one wants to have to swap the thumb stud over when you get the knife out of the box, right? Swap, if you're a lefty, swap out the clip. And then technically this stud does work without having to be swapped over, but you can see there's a lot less stud to grab onto. So I think Cold Steel is starting to just implement symmetrical thumb studs across the board. Why am I struggling so much with the word thumb stud today? Oh my gosh. Anyways, I think they are starting to do that, which is good. Next thing, this knife is one of the least glove friendly knives of any of my Cold Steels, and I say that because it's slippery. It's very slippery. There's not a whole lot of aggressive jimping to guide your hand to where you're trying to grab it, and it's thin. So if you're wearing gloves and you're using this, you don't have as much control over the edge as you do with some other Cold Steels. Other Cold Steel knives help you get that edge alignment spot on, even if you're wearing gloves, because of the way the handle's designed, the way the handle's contoured or textured, helps you to just index the knife in the right way. This one doesn't really do that. In bare hands, it's absolutely fine, right? In bare hands, it's fantastic, but with gloves on, it's just a little bit too slippery. It's a little bit too thin. It just doesn't work out that great. You can do it, of course. It doesn't make the knife unusable. You can do it, but it is definitely something to point out. The other thing too, is just with the slipperiness and with the aluminum, if you are working in the cold, obviously this is going to get really cold. If you're working in the hot, this is going to get really hot. So, just take those into account. And really, it's about it, honestly. That's about it. I don't really like how Cold Steel does that thumb stud, and, the scales do make the knife a little slippery and a little bit harder to index with gloves on. But let's go ahead and get on to my final conclusions. Final conclusions, it's a great knife. It's a great knife. And I know I'm a Cold Steel fanboy, but it's hard not to be when they keep just doing things right. And this knife is older. I did buy this knife, a long time ago. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Cold Steel. I'm interested to compare this knife against some of their newer offerings that are coming out with this year. I do plan on getting some of those and testing them. But this knife to me is one of those knives that will never not be good. This is an evergreen classic. This knife, you could hand this to anyone, and I think they'll get a lot of use out of it. Maybe not anyone. I don't think I could hand this knife to my sister, for example, and have her enjoy it that much, but within reason, right? Just a good-looking knife. I could have pointed out the grind lines on the blade just look amazing. The price on these is also really good. They have gone up considerably. I remember when I bought this one, they were like $80. $80 for the aluminum S35EN. Holy cow. That was a steal. Nowadays, they're more in the realm of $115, $120. And I still think that's a fair price. It's not as amazing on the value front as the $85 price tag, but it's still an acceptable price tag for what you're getting here. Excellent build quality, very durable knife, very capable knife, very just well thought out and well executed pocket knife. And that's going to be my final conclusion, which is kind of my final conclusion for most Cold Steel knives, right? It's well done. It's well done, and if this is your style of knife, you will enjoy it. I don't think everyone enjoys Cold Steel knives. In fact, I know they don't. And I think that's more of a what kind of knife person you are. If you're someone who enjoys fidgeting, if you're someone who maybe just works an office job, if you're someone who, prefers smaller knives, maybe you've got smaller hands or something like that, just preference, Cold Steel might not be for you, right? And I'll be completely honest, when I'm, as someone who works in the woods a lot, who's outdoors a lot, but also is, in academia, in the city, doing things that are, a lot less demanding of a pocket knife, Cold Steel doesn't find its way into my pocket that often when I'm in that type of environment. But I'm so thankful I also have the ranching background and the outdoor stuff that I do where I can fully appreciate just how damn good these things are. So, If you're a cold steel person, you probably already have one of these. If you're new to the community and you're wanting to get into a cold steel and you want to find something that's very, very excellent quality, that's going to feel premium, this is a great way to go as well. It's a good knife. It's a really dang good knife. I don't think a whole lot of people will argue with that. It's a classic, and I think cold steel will keep making these for a very, very long time. But that is going to be it for today, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave it a like, comment below, and subscribe. I've been Gideon, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.